Middle-earth. Originally, this was just an English translation of the Norse Midgard, a name referring to the realm of men, to differentiate it from the realms of the gods and other supernatural beings. Now it is the name of one of the most famous and well-thought-out fantasy worlds in the history of English literature. When you hear the word Middle-earth, what image springs to mind? Perhaps you think of the fire-blasted ashen wastes of Mordor, or perhaps the calm green tranquility of the Shire, the lofty and glorious spires of Minas Tirith, the beautiful golden-leafed boughs of Lothlorien, the ancient treasure-filled halls of the Lonely Mountain, or perhaps the warmth and cheer of Rivendell and the last homely house. Of course, just about everybody knows Lord of the Rings, but if the films are all you've seen, you probably don't know that The Lord of the Rings is merely the conclusion of a much, much bigger story. And, as with all such things, this story has a beginning. Welcome to Brainstorm Lore, and welcome to the origins of Middle-earth, the creation of Arda, and the song of the Ainur. Or, as I like to call it in my less reverent moments, Genesis, the musical. In the beginning, there was God, or rather, Eru Iluvatar. He was the supreme being, the creator of all, and the first thing that he decided to create were a group of angelic beings, or gods, only slightly less potent than himself, known as the Ainur. Foremost among these was Melkor. Not only was he the most powerful of the Ainur, but Melkor was also the most restless. Impatient for Iluvatar to begin creating the world, Melkor spent much of his time wandering alone in the void, trying to find the flame imperishable, the source by which Iluvatar could do the one thing that only he can do: create. It was ultimately futile, as the flame imperishable existed within Iluvatar himself. This revelation rather irked Melkor, much in the same way that a teenager gets annoyed when his parents tell him he's still not allowed to drive. Hold on to that comparison, because it's going to be something of a running theme with Melkor. Eventually, Iluvatar gathered all the Ainur together and commanded them to sing. Over the course of 3 movements, the Song of the Ainur, guided by Iluvatar's will and the power of the flame imperishable, reached out into the void, and by its power brought into being the world of Arda, Middle-earth. Rather unsurprisingly, Melkor decided that this would be a great opportunity to, well, act out. He too sang along with the others, but his voice was harsh and sharp, and he sang as loudly as possible so as to stand out from his brothers and sisters. The majority ignored him and sang as they had before, but there were a few among the Ainur who eventually attuned their song to match his. Thus, discord was introduced into the music of Iluvatar. The Song of the Ainur was comprised of 3 movements in all, and each time Melkor and his followers introduced discord into the melodies of Iluvatar. At the end of the 3rd melody, Iluvatar declared the work was done. He praised both the Ainur and Melkor for their power, but then he chastised the latter, informing him that essentially everything, even Melkor's discord, had all been part of Iluvatar's grand design. Quote, "And thou, Melkor, shalt see that no theme may be played that hath not its uttermost source in me, nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he that attempteth this shall prove but mine instrument in the devising of things more wonderful, which he himself hath not imagined." End quote. There can be no worse thing to an angsty teenager than to be told that his rebellion is completely pointless. Unfortunately, Melkor wasn't simply a petulant teen. He was a being of godlike power. And so, when the Ainur descended onto Arda and began to shape it as Iluvatar dictated they should, and especially after the Ainur decided to nominate Manwë for their leader instead of Melkor himself, Melkor resolved that from this day forward, whatever his brothers and sisters built, he would destroy. And that is what he has done and attempted to do ever since. And he would not be alone in this endeavor, for while none of the greater Ainur, known as the Valar, joined his cause, some of the lesser Ainur, known as the Maiar, did. Most of them went on to become the Balrogs, though of course everyone has heard of Melkor's most famous servant, Sauron. All things considered though, Melkor was still the most powerful of the Ainur, and the conflict between him and his siblings ground on and on and on. It only ended when the last of the Valar, Tulkas the Strong, came, and beat Melkor so badly that he ran away and hid. He would be back, of course, determined to ruin everything that his siblings created, but that is a story for another time. Next episode will be about the origin of one of the most famous fantasy worlds to be inspired by the works of Tolkien. Join me next time for the origin of Azeroth. Until then. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and check out my website, studiobrainstorm.net. Studio Brainstorm is a small publishing company looking to reach out to other independent or small-time writers looking to get started. If you have a story worth telling, whether it's a book, comic, novel, or a short story, please contact us. Both email and phone hours are listed on the website. Thank you very much, and have a good day.